Daniel, great to connect today, man. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. How are you today, Jason?
I'm doing good, thanks. So, what should we talk about today? What do you want coaching on?
So, if there's just one thing I could get coaching from you on today, I believe it would be surrounding the idea of just being limited, not reaching my full potential, and why I continue to stay in my own way, whether it's self-sabotaging or maybe something that I'm just not seeing.
So, what is your potential?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something I could truly answer accurately.
Okay. How have you been operating in regards to your potential?
I feel like there's been highs and lows or peaks and valleys. I feel like at times I'm on fire with my growth and striving for more. And then other times I feel like I'm stuck in a lull and I'm not achieving things fast enough, or I'm not showing up fully the way that I should be or could be.
Okay. I could say the same thing. I felt like that too. So what specifically is your question, or do you want coaching on? Because it sounds like that's kind of because I heard you say something about limited, my potential, full potential. Like, be more specific for me. Like, how can I help?
Well, there's one thing that you mentioned quite a bit, is not letting the outside world impact your inside world. A bad economy, housing slowdown, what have you. I just recently made a major change as far as my career, and I do mortgages for a living. And as I'm sure you're aware of, mortgages have definitely slowed down quite a bit. But there are still some people that are killing it in terms of production or, what they're able to do. However, I found myself recently transitioning from where I was in a junior LO role, and I was just kind of sitting there taking leads as they were coming in, to now having to produce my own leads and generate my own business. And it's been about 3 months now, and I feel like my performance in it hasn't hit where I need it to hit. And that's impacted me financially. It's impacted my household, my relationship with my wife. Like, it's almost like a trickle down impact.
Okay. That sounds tough.
It has been tough.
So that's the situation. Yes?
Yeah.
Right? That's the situation that you have been in up until this point right now. So what do you want coaching on?
How I can have a transformative experience that allows me to get out from the reality that I feel like I'm living in to the reality that I know I'm creating for my future self. And I don't know if that's something that you can coach me on, more so than just picking out, hey, what can I do, maybe the practical steps that will allow me to accelerate that part of my growth.
The answer to that question is to not be in resistance to that occurring. Which sounds very simple and very hard to implement practically, but that is the answer. What often happens when we're not getting what we want is we're focused on what we don't want. And I can guarantee that if you and I went through your last week, I'm guessing you probably spent 50% of your time you were working, and maybe 50% of your overall time worried about where you are. Something like that.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty accurate.
Okay.
At least.
Yeah, because that's part of the process, right? The part of the process is seeing what we don't want. It will start shifting when you start focusing on what you do want. Now, that's easier said than done. But that's really the answer, because we are creating at such a rate right now, faster than ever before. You're literally one phone call away from a new opportunity, a new lead source, a new lead source, a new connection that could generate more mortgages. Or it could be money coming from something besides mortgages. That's also an option too. But when we are in financial scarcity, it's very common and normal and to get stuck focused on what we don't want, because there's stress. There's consistent pressure. You went in a new direction, you started something bigger, and then you're like, oh. So I honor you in that journey, and I know it's hard. I've been there too. And the way to, your brain is looking for a strategy out of this spot. But the answer is not a strategy. The answer is a frequency, right? It's a different version of you. Because right now, like, we need more leads for your business, or we need more business from some other direction. And in order to get that, you need to be in alignment with that stuff occurring. But the reaction to what you don't want is kicking you out of alignment.
So you're saying that I'm still in reaction to what it is that I don't want, and that's what I'm spending 50% or more of my time on?
Without diving too much into it, that's my guess. I could be wrong, but that's my guess. Because I know that you want to be successful, and you're driven to be successful, and you are pushing yourself, and you want to support I know all those things. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on this call with me. And right now, you're probably like, I want to take the action. I just don't know what action to take. You've probably taken all the action you can take. You've probably talked to your mentors and other brokers, you mortgage guys, and they've told you what they do. And you're trying to do some of that, and some of it works and some of it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So the answer out of this spot is a different way of being. It's a different frequency of you. Because when you get into the new frequency, then the strategy will show up. Think like multiverse, right? Remember that Spider-Man movie where there's all the different versions of Spider-Man, right? Like right now, you're the version of Daniel that doesn't know the answer. And I can clearly see this because this is not my life. I'm talking about yours because I'm on the outside. But I swear, did you listen to the Monday Mindset Reset call today?
I did.
It's the exact same thing I was talking about. The exact same thing. There are stories that are running because basically your brain is looking at life and your bank account and your business and your leads, and it's not, you're having a reaction to that because it's not meeting your expectations. And then your brain is creating a story. Oh, it's difficult. Oh, it's the market, blah, 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 blah. And so there's that story running. And your brain is trying to find a strategy to solve this problem that you don't want. But the strategy doesn't exist in this version of you. You need to shift into the version of you where the solution and the strategy exists. And the number one way to do that is to get out of reaction to where you are. And I'm guessing it's probably your reaction to your situation. I could be wrong, but that's my guess. And we're doing one call here and not 6 hours of talking, so I'm kind of making a few assumptions here. But I assume it's your reaction, and I know that because I've had financial scarcity too. I've spent years in financial scarcity. I know it, I recognize it, and I could see it a mile away. So the hardest thing, like, I don't know if you know who Les Brown is. He's that speaker, motivational speaker. I saw him I saw him like 25 years ago. Yeah, I worked at this company called Ingram Micro. There's like this big big tech company. It had like 300 people on the sales floor. It was so much fun. And they would break. I saw Zig Ziglar. I saw Les Brown. It was pretty awesome. And he said the easiest thing I've ever done in my life was make $1 million. And then he went on to say the hardest thing I've ever done in my life was believe I could. So the work that you have to do right now is not mortgage work. It's not marketing. The heavy lifting you need to do right now is to get yourself in belief and alignment that you can thrive right now and be successful regardless of this situation. That's the hard work to do. And it could be as simple as, can I get a sense of a version of me that knows what to do? Yes. Because anytime you're feeling resistance or fear or scarcity, you're in the wrong version.
And so when I identify that, is that the time when I know I need to slow down and take some time to frame shift?
Anytime you're feeling negative emotion, you're out of alignment.
And so what's the fastest way to shift that?
Stop. The fastest way to get if you're working and you're feeling negative emotion and working on your business, that's misalignment, right? There can be situations where you're aligned and you're feeling negative emotion, but for you around your goals, it's misalignment. The fastest way into alignment is to stop what you're doing and take like a 5-minute break and just breathe and just sit or go for a walk and forget about all of this. Because the way to think about this is you are a giant magnet. Life is a machine that brings you things, and money is brought to you through other people. And the way that you're going to grow your business is by interacting with people differently than you are now. And you know that. You know I need to talk to new people. I need to talk to new leads. And you're basically looking around you and leveraging everyone else and how they do it as best they can, because that's normal. Oh, well, social media, I need a website, I need this, or a pod, whatever, right? Like your brain is kicking out the socially conditioned options to build your network. Because to build your business, you need to build your network, your connections. Because right now, your business is and how much money you have is represented based on your current network. You started a new business, you need to build leads, so you need to do that. You're trying to do what everyone else tells you to do because they're trying to help you, but your way is always going to be different. So you have to find your way. Like I thought my greatest success was from duplicating Brandon Turner and becoming the Brandon Turner of coaching. Well, I may be a same skill level as him, but I'm never going to be the social media Instagram guy. I'm not. That's just not who I am. And if I had a choice, I would not want social media at all. I would want my social media just to be like vacations, side-by-side trips, musicians, and that's what I would want social media, not all this real estate crap. So it's like you have to find your way, but the way you find your way is being in alignment with finding your way. And in order to get into alignment, you have to stop being in reaction to what you don't have. And it's hard, and you have to figure out how to do it. But the answer is you need to be where I am going to be successful. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to find the right people. And right now, this is just a phase, and it's going to be worth it. And the financial struggle we have right now as a family is going to be worth it because we are going up. So getting yourself to that place of alignment might just be the hardest thing you've ever done. Because as soon as you get into alignment with it, you'll start thinking different thoughts. You'll start having different desires. You'll start making different connections. And all of a sudden, like me, I realized, well, I thought my business was going to grow from social media. And I was like, well, wait a second. None of my business has my major business has come from relationships. I had a relationship with someone and their social media. So I realized if I want to grow my business, I need just more Brandon Turners, not a million Instagram followers, because that just felt heavy and difficult and challenging because that's just not me.
And so when it feels heavy and difficult and challenging, that's the resistance that triggers me to understand that I am out of alignment.
Well, when you feel that resistance, you're going the wrong way. Right? If you feel resistance to that direction or that lead source, that's the wrong one.
Okay.
should be lighter. But this all starts from the frame of certainty that it will happen, even though you don't know how. So if you need to write down on a piece of paper 100 times a day, I am going to create success. The market doesn't matter. I will find a way. If you have to write that on paper and say it out loud 100 times, like whatever you need to do to get into alignment, you need to get into alignment. Because the success will not, you'll get mediocre success doing what you're doing, but the major massive growth will come when you get into alignment with that occurring. And a big part of it right now is the faith in yourself, the faith in life, or maybe faith in God, if that applies to you, or faith in life or universe. But that belief, because that faith in your success is a frame of alignment. And it's a choice to believe it. Is it easy? No. It is not easy.
I believe everything you're telling me to be true. I mean, the years of personal development I've gone through and just the results I've had in my life up to this point, it's always been like, oh, well, I lack confidence or I lack this, but it's when I'm committed to something, I'm decisive about something, I've been able to make it come true. And so I think you're right. My biggest struggle has just been the lack of results. However, there's a huge part of me that knows I've made the right decisions. It's just a matter of being more patient, waiting for it to come. And I believe you've told me before, look, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Enjoy the journey. Like stop trying to rush it, and just enjoy the process where you're at.
Yeah, that's because you're in a part of the process that's just not your favorite part. But you're still in the process. And resistance to this part of the process makes this part of the process last longer. So the less resistance do you have for this part of the process, the faster you'll go through it.
And so how do I reduce that resistance? Is that the frame shifting piece?
You can frame shift. You can do belief changes. You can just say, yes, come and get me. You can make peace with the fears. Sometimes there's fears that you're trying to avoid. Making peace with those can sometimes help. But if you feel that internal desire that you're supposed to go in this direction, then you're supposed to go in this direction. And if you need more business, you're going to find it when you believe it. So it's like you need to get into the mindset and the frame of the business is there, even though I don't know how. So that global, non-specific frame is how you create alignment for those opportunities to show up. So if you need to frame shift every day or 5 times a day, 10 times a day, and maybe do repeat after me, I know exactly what to do. I am going to, yes, business is great. If you said that, that's the frequency where it will show up. And if you get all frustrated and you just got a bill and you saw this, then set a timer on your phone and complain for 5 minutes about how money's tight. And then when you're done, get that out of your system and go back into alignment. It's like literally you got to daydream. Now you still have to take care of life right now while you're doing that. But we want at the global level that you're just, the biggest global frame you're operating in to be a belief that you'll get through this. And not just get through this, you'll thrive through this. And I would be open to it coming from any direction, not just mortgages. And I would look for people reaching out to me. I would look for synchronicities. I would look for where I'm hearing the same thing multiple times. I would look for opportunities to meet new people. When someone goes, hey, we got an extra ticket here. Do you want to go? Like stuff like that. Because life is trying to help you. But if we are focused on it needs to look like this, then and life wants to give it to you like that, then it's not going to work. And then I would also say, listen or read that book, Money Loves You.
I think I got it on Audible because of you.
Yeah, I would read that. Yeah, it's good. It's helped me create. Listen to that, like that. That's the frequency. That book is basically the frequency of money of abundance.
So I feel a little lighter because of this conversation.
Good.
And a lot of it's just affirming what I've already know, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of continuing to believe and have faith in that. Because I do believe that I've made the right decisions. It's a matter of being open to receiving. And I like what you said about it coming from other areas as well, not just in my business.
Notice how you said it's just a matter of continuing to believe this, right? That means the default is disbelief. Why are you disbelieving you can be successful right now?
Well, I think it's a matter of trying to not be too Pollyanna about things and not necessarily disbelief, but just making sure that I'm looking at things with a realistic perspective, so to speak.
How's that working?
It's not working.
Okay, so stop doing that. Because that's realistic. Realistic is the fastest way to be average. And you're not trying to be average. So stop being realistic. And let's just notice that what if your default was belief and not disbelief? But that's the place to be. And you may just need to decide that you're going to believe that, and then just sit with all of the emotions that tell you otherwise. Like what this is really less about creating the belief of that success is going to happen and more processing through all the fears that it's not. So you have to make peace with those fears. You have to see the gift in the worst case scenario. And do as best you can to provide for your family. I know, like I've been on food assistance from the state before. It sucks. Staying in alignment then was incredibly challenging. But if you sit long enough, eventually you'll process through the fears, the doubts, the worries, the concerns. And you'll get to a point where you're like, whatever happens, I will keep going. Whatever happens, I'm not going to stop. Whatever happens, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go in this direction as best I can. If I need to go to pivot, I will. If I need to get a job, I will. Like I will do what it takes. That's the frame. See that? That frame. Oh, it's going to happen. Absolutely. Do I know how? Nope. But is it going to? Yes. What if it doesn't? Well, then I'm going to keep going until it does. Like that, the fear, the doubt, the worry, that's how you remove the resistance. The resistance is that. So you have to do whatever it takes to get rid of that. Could be sitting with it. Could be journaling it. Could be saying it out loud. Could be telling your wife, I'm scared.
Well, I don't want to tell my wife I'm scared.
She already knows.
That would just make her worry.
Well, she knows you're scared.
I think you're right about that.
She knows you're scared. While she may distract herself from actually accepting that. Alignment with her is going to be better than misalignment with her, because the two of you together can create even more when you're in alignment. So it's a combination of being like, you may say like, I'm scared, but at the same time, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get us out of the spot. But those are emotions you're having. How do you get through it? However you can. And if you need, and if it's that tight, then get a job or do something else. Right? You can always go your route on the side next week. Like I've had, of the 5 companies I've started, 4 of them I had a full-time job at the same time. Now, life may not require you to go back and get another job somewhere, but you need to be willing to do whatever's necessary. Sometimes we can be like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore, but like, then life sees you as not willing to do what it takes. Because life won't always ask you to do the work, but you have to be willing to. Does this help?
Yeah, this has been really good.
Okay. And if you need more support, you can listen to more podcast episodes. You've got Mindset Academy. There's hundreds of hours of Mindset Academy episodes you could listen to, right? But if you're struggling to stay aligned, then you need to sit with the stuff that's making you misaligned. Sometimes a frame shift will work. Sometimes a repeat after me. Sometimes you just have to feel all of that stuff. My guess is you need to sit with the fear and process through it. And maybe just like write down what you're afraid is going to happen. Because by doing so, you release the energy around it. All right. You good?
Yeah, I feel more sense of clarity and what I need to do going forward.
Okay. So what actions are you going to take after this call?
So one of the major actions I need to take is sitting down with my wife, just having that conversation, knowing that she knows how I feel, but I've been unwilling to talk about it, discuss it with her. The other really big takeaway that I can actually implement or take action on and do is writing down what it is that I'm fearful of. Mm-hmm. I think that will help. And I have resources that will help us through this time. It's just, I know with my wife, like not seeing any income coming in for the last couple of months, like, is that really going to change? And my attitude is, yes, it's going to change. And just having that unwavering belief that it is going, because it will.
It will, but let's also make sure you're not waiting, right? Because you can be sitting there waiting for leads to come in. That's waiting.
Yeah, I don't want to be doing that.
Don't want to. So, and remember, she does want you to be happy. She doesn't want you to have a shitty job you hate. She doesn't want that. She wants you to be happy. But it's her job also to reality check if you're getting a little out there. Okay. That was a dog bark. So, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, Daniel. Great to connect today. I will talk to you soon, man.
Appreciate it, Jason. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome. Are you starting to see how powerful coaching is? Coaching is really powerful. To get an experience of coaching yourself, go to freeintrosession.com and my team will give you a complimentary Do the Impossible goal setting session. Until next week, I will see you then. Have an amazing day. Take care. Bye-bye.